Good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday. Hello. I am Soul Coach Michele, and I am your co-creative life coach and your friendly neighborhood super woo in to say hello and good morning. Happy Monday. I'm so excited that we are in the second week of January because last week just felt like, everything was going on. Everything got started and nothing was moving. Not a big shock. Let me see. Am I live where I'm supposed to be live? I know I'm on the YouTubes because I get an email saying you're on lives on the YouTubes. Oh, yep. And I am lives on the Facebook too. So hopefully you are joining me. And let's see. I'm going to move over to so I can watch the chat. If I see anybody chatting, super happy to see everybody. Welcome to the new year. Like I said, welcome to my channel. If you're new to the channel, this is a Soul Coach Studio channel. And apparently YouTube has @ now. So @ Soul Coach Studio. If you want to subscribe, click the bell, all the doodads. Let's see. It says people are commenting, but it says oh, I'm in private chat. No one's talking to me privately because I'm the only one that would be doing that. Duh. Hey, good morning, Sharon. How are you? Say hello if you're here. And if you are watching the replay, just hit #replay and say hello, and you can comment along. So just so you know what we do here in the weekly energy report is I kind of download a little bit based on a couple of things. Like I like to look at the cosmic weather, see what's going on. I don't do like specific stuff right now. This is like for the collective. So it'll be like based around what's the cosmic weather. So what is the weather outside? Then I bring in my intuitive channeled messages, which just jotted all that stuff down earlier this morning. I love how the spirit doesn't tell me what our theme is for today until like today, which for a Virgo is kind of, like, because we like to plan. But it is what it is. And then one of the things we talk about is since I'm a co creative life coach, we're manifesting, we're co creating with the universe, with our thoughts, with our actions, all that kind of stuff. And so, based on the cosmic weather and what does that really mean, and how can we navigate that? Because it's like, if the earthly weather is raining, you want to know, do I put on a raincoat or do I just need an umbrella because it's only going to last a little bit? Like, how do I navigate the weather as with the collective, and sometimes for yourself it can be very resonant. And then lastly, we pull some cards. My favorite deck is this one. I do have some new decks that I've been talking about since probably October when I got them, and I haven't taken the plastic off. That tells you guys how much stuff's going on. Then we pull some cards for the collective to kind of support what is it that we need to know to do. What is the medicine, the animal medicine that will help us navigate through the week? Okay, so that's what we're doing today. That's what the Monday weekly weather is. I'm actually putting together some ideas to do other videos, which I'm excited about to share with you. And Spirit has told me, just because I've had people asking, like, I want to make an appointment, I want to do this, I want to do that. This weekend on Saturday, we are doing our annual Reconnect, Align, Manifest workshop. And so if you are interested in attending that, that's what's going on this week. I am not taking appointments other than the standing appointments with current coaching clients and that class until after we get going straight with Mars retrograde going direct, Mercury retrograde going direct. Like, I feel like I'm being called that not until after the new moon on the 20th are we going to open stuff up really big. So I am not sharing any cool new stuff until the 21st and forward, because that is kind of what I'm being told. I have ideas that are really exciting that I've shared with some clients, and they're like, ooh, that sounds yummy. So stay tuned for that. But right now, if you want to work together, the way to do that is to join me this weekend on Saturday. The links for all that are in the blurb. So if you are on YouTube, the blurby thing, I believe, is here. If you're on Facebook, it's here. If you're watching on LinkedIn, I have no idea where it is because I don't hang out over there. But Spirit told me to go ahead and stream into LinkedIn because why not? Anyway, so I will share all that stuff later, but if you want to join the class, it is $20.23, and it gives you get a workbook to do before you join class, and then we coach through the workbook. So like what your results, what came up for you, what are your words, and like that kind of things. And it creates basically 4 statements, 4 value statements that are connected to your soul purpose so that you can check in back with those statements every time you set an intention going forward in this year. And those things may change. So you may reconnect and align and manifest going forward in very quarterly fashions. So because we are not the same person. Like I have people that are signed up for the class this week that took it last year and did it 2 more times as coaching clients throughout the year. So, that kind of stuff. So anyways, all that said, if you want to work together between now and probably the last 2 weeks of January, go ahead and join that class. Otherwise, and only those in the class will be invited to other uh, immediate things between now and the 20th. If you're not in the class, you're gonna have to wait till the 20th, 21st to kind of find out what's going on. So, anyways, like because I like to like my peeps, I encircle my peeps. So make sure you join the class, get on the mailing list, all that kind of stuff. And that's all links in the doodads. Anyways, let's see. Hey, good morning, Carol. Good morning, Jenna. Hello. And Jenna says, I decided not to drop off new stuff until the 15th because I felt it was needed for me, but for others to see more of us take a break too. Yes. And it's like, here's the thing. So I feel like, and I'll just kind of jump right into the channeled stuff that I got. So cosmos wise, we all still know nothing really has changed since last week as far as, I mean, the moon's changed, right? And there's a little movement, but the biggies that are kind of really impeding forward motion are Mars retrograde till this Thursday. But because it's like that big giant outer planet, it's going to take till March to finally really get going. But you will feel a little bit of relief. But this week, girl, you're going to find it like almost impossible to move. And it's so interesting because I'm watching myself because I'm seeing like, I'm not, stuff is not happening, not moving. And then you have Mercury retrograde, which is nobody's talking. No, or at least the communication is jacked up. So all that to say, when we think about that stuff, when you think about, not having any data input, so we have nobody doing anything in the areas that maybe we want movement, and nobody talking to us about not doing anything, it kind of can do some things like generate stories or lies or assumptions that we tell ourselves that can create shit spirals in our brains. Because I mean, I don't know about you, but usually the go to isn't like, oh, they're not talking to me and they're not, doing anything. And surely everything is totally okay. Right. No, normally it's like, oh my God, are they mad at me? Am I not doing something right? Oh my God, I'm not hearing back about that job, that new house, that bank loan, that new car, that friend of mine. I sent her a text and she hasn't texted me back forever. I don't understand. Maybe she's mad at me. And then all of a sudden, maybe, this shit stories go around because one of the 4 agreements, remember, is do not make assumptions. And what is the worst thing we can do when we have no data? And what is the one thing that we generally do when we have no data? We make assumptions and we write stories that 9 times out of 10 aren't really true, or at least mostly not true. So this week, it's almost like we feel like we're not able to stand in our power because nothing is moving and nobody is talking. And when that happens, it makes us feel like the general go-to is I'm telling myself stories, I'm assuming the worst, all of this, because I have no data externally to base it on. But what's really the invitation here is when you don't have any data out here, the data comes from one other place, right here. And I've been saying this since before Christmas of last year, which is this coming year is going to be a lot about asking yourself, what do I really want? What do I want? Not based on what my parents told me or their expectations. Not based on what my kids are telling me or their expectations. Not based on what my partner is telling me or their expectations. Or society or the ads on the television or what the news is saying is going on in the world and the expectations around that. Get clear away all of that and say, what do I want going forward? What story? Because here's the other thing. If we have no data out here to base our story on, and we decide intentionally, consciously and intentionally, that I am not going to write myself a shitty story based on assumption, then what does that say? That says I have a blank piece of paper to write my own story on. I have a blank sheet of paper. So that says, what do I want? And let me write that story. Because when I write it down, I start the manifesting process because I'm bringing the story from the thought into a thing, onto a piece of paper, so that I know I have a map for myself. It may not be totally clear, and that is okay because we got some crazy energy this week. Not super crazy. It's okay. It's just stagnant, I think, and that's what creates the crazy. Because people, and I'm looking at who's here with me today. A lot of us like to do, right? Because we like to move forward. We want to move forward, but we are in a time where moving is not good. Like it's not gonna. It's the road is full of potholes, or shut for construction, or whatever, and nobody is letting you know before you leave the house. Mercury retrograde, that there's construction on the road and you can't move. Mars retrograde. Okay, so come Friday, you might feel an ease up because Mars will be going direct, but stationing means it is stopped. It's not retrograde anymore, which is like, shoo, but it is stationed, meaning it's not going nowhere. It's going to take a minute, like a lot of minutes, to turn around because it's so big. So, in that time, yes, the lack of movement frustration will start to wane, but understand there's an invitation there to ask inside myself, in my inner world. Retrograde is in my inner world. How do I want to move forward? So when it is fully direct in, say, March, I know it's a long time, but it'll get easier and easier. And after Mercury goes direct, because then I can start communicating my plan of action before I take the action. And Mercury going direct, your post shadow is 2 weeks. It's a lot shorter than Mars. But by the end of January, going into February, we're going to have this time frame where I'm going to invite you, and it's really tough. Trust me, I am not over here like Buddha under the fig tree being like, I'm all zen. I am like this morning, I woke up and my brain was off the rails. Like all of the things that I have going on, personal life, business world, what's going on in just everyday get shit done mode, all of these things. And all of that motion is stagnant. And as you try to push it, it's like pushing against a block wall. So I'm going to encourage you, as I encouraged myself this morning. I'll tell you what I did this morning. So maybe you can kind of take that and mold it into what you need for this week. I don't know about y'all, but like when that happens, I'm prone to have anxiety. Okay. So I will, like, the shit spiral I talk about just goes haywire. So a couple of things. First thing I did right out the gate was I assessed myself and I'm like, okay, when anxiety hits, why is it hitting? It's because I'm feeling overwhelmed. Because why? Ding, yesterday, instead of sitting with my planner, like I like to do for at least an hour to kind of just get on paper, again, writing it down, making it real. What's my week going to look like? And what do I need to get done this week? What client work do I need to get done for my peeps? What emails do I need to get out? All this kind of stuff. Where am I? Like, my mom and I are going to go hang out this week. So where does that fall in the week? And when can I go to Costco? Because girl, the pantry is getting bare. So I got to get my ass to the Costco, like all out. And I know it sounds so mundane. You're like, oh, she's so woo, sitting under her fig tree, looking at star charts and cards and shit. No, I go to Costco because it's good. But anyways, that said, like all of this had me up at 4 o'clock this morning. And I am not a morning person. I am not a night person. I am a happy sleeping person. So when I can't sleep, that sucks. So this morning, first things first, I had to get this shit spiral under control so that I could think and then feel into my emotions and then figure out what was I going to do to navigate my way out. So first thing, I went straight for my tapping. I love tapping, whether it is body talk tapping, and you can Google all of this stuff, look it up on YouTube. Body talk tapping, the tapping solution kind of tapping, which is your traditional, more EFT kind of stuff. And then also the Eden method for thumbs tapping. These are my three go-tos, like when I need to just get my energy flowing back in the right direction and calming it all down. Then there's also some meditations on Insight Timer that are around brain entrainment. Those are really great ones. There's two that I go to when my head is like blah. Two of them are called brain massage, which I love. These are not guided, they are just music. And then another one called I think anti-inflammatory. It's like 10 minutes. Anyway, so that was my morning. I made myself a cup of tea at like 5 o'clock in the morning, sat and wrote out and just started brain dumping, like, what do I need to do to get myself feeling like I am actually doing something? So journaling out what's all in my brain, listening and doing my tapping. And to me, with the tapping stuff, no matter what method you're using, is realigning your energy because it's almost like everything's short circuiting. So we got to kind of shut down and reteach the body the correct circuits to follow. Okay. So that was that. And then once I did all that and I looked at my list, I'm like, oh, okay, you know what? I'm going to take 10 minutes or 15 minutes this morning, turn on some meditation music and write out my planner before I even go downstairs and look at any other human being. And that helped me enormously. Like just really asking yourself, this is what I mean by turning inward and saying, what do I need? What do I want? So this week, it's kind of saying to yourself, if Mars retrograde is no action and Mercury retrograde is no communication, and that stresses us the fuck out because we have no external data to make plans by. It's to say, you know what? It's safe for me to go inside and figure out what data can I glean from myself about my actions and my communication with myself around those actions. And are they triggering storytelling? So remember, the third agreement and the fourth agreement is don't make assumptions, which 9 times out of 10 we're making when we don't have external data. And that's storytelling. Those are lies. Most of the time, they might be based in like 2% of truth. And then the story we build, the assumption we build around that doesn't do us any service. So if all of that is just a story based on assumption, and you want to take your power back from that because it feels very disempowering to create a story around an assumption. We come back and say, okay, and this is the channeled stuff, came back to the whole taking back your power. And if I'm going to rewrite my story, if I'm going to rewrite this story that I'm telling myself based on assumption, if I was going to go deep down into my truth, going deep down into my truth, based on my truth and what I want and what I need. What is the story I want to write for myself that is based on truth? So it's not really a story, it's a nonfiction. It's a nonfiction because it's based on your truth. What story do I want to write this week? Based on what I want, what I need, and the data that I glean from within myself. And I know that's going to be a challenge because it's funny because we are witnessing, it doesn't mean that things stop just because we're not receiving data around the things that we want data around, whether it be action or messages. We're still receiving messages and watching other people do action because not everybody is tuned in like this. I mean, I think we can all agree. I mean, I went to the grocery store yesterday. I went to the Home Depot yesterday. I over peopled like on acid. And let me tell you something. It is like everybody's just like, ah, because everybody's trying to find motion and communication at a time when there isn't any. And everybody's just like writing stories and getting all up in their head. So it was just lots of energy that was kind of like frenetic. And that's what you're witnessing, which is also like compounding the challenge. So I'm going to invite you to kind of do the inward work, do more meditations, sit with yourself, sit in the quiet, allow people to just be. Don't try to control them and their story. Don't try to do any of that because it's not in your control anyway. The only thing in your control is to go inward and say, what do I want? What do I want to, what do I need? And what nonfiction, what truth do I want to base the story I want to write around all of that for myself this week? And that's a journal thing. So that's the messages that I'm getting based on both the weather and what spirit has to say. So we're going to ask our cards now. We're going to And again, we're not really asking the cards. Ink and paper have no power. We are setting the intention into the tool of what do we need to know? What medicine can help us navigate this week with that challenge of it's so easy. The weather is making it really easy to lean into the challenge of buying into the story of no communication and no movement means people are ghosting us, or people are not doing what they're saying they said they were going to do, or the process of something we wanted is like just non-existent, and now of course because we're going to stir up a shitstorm, it is not happening anymore or whatever. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. It may or may not be true, but we don't know because it's a story. That's the energy that's easy to fall into. So if we can say, I'm going to be intentional and conscious around what I'm choosing, and I'm going to write my nonfiction based on my truth, what medicine can we lean into to remind us to step back into our power, step back into our truth, to consciously and intentionally set those intentions and all that stuff around giving permission to reconnect with self and understand what it is we need to know and what stories we want to write for ourselves, or rather what nonfictions we want to replace those stories with. Okay, so let's pick some cards here. We got one. Yes. Oh my God. You can't make this shit up, my friends. You can't. Okay, we're going to do this. Oh, all of this is upside down. You know why? Because the energy is very much in the upside downy thing, except for the right side one, because you know that is a truth. Because again, we all the invitation is to lean into the truth and lean away from the lie. The lie that out here is where all the information is. Out here is where all the manifesting happens. Out here is where the control is. Big fat effing lie. The control is here. The manifesting power is here. The decision to make your life better or worse, it's all choices, here, not here. Okay. And I think it's really interesting. The answer is, I love it when pigs fly, right? But actually, it's use your mind wisely, but it's upside down. And remember, upside down is I forgot that I knew that, I didn't know that, or I know that and I'm ignoring it. When I really think this is an I forgot that I knew that moment, because the energy is that overarching kind of muddled mind energy where we forget that I have control over my mind. If thoughts become things and I have control over my own mind, and I am making the intention effort to control where my thoughts are focused and energy flows where focus goes, if I can be intentional and conscious about my thoughts and shifting them back to where I need them to be so I can manifest what I want, this is a good thing to remember. Using your mind wisely. Louise Hay's I love her affirmation. I am the only thinker in my mind. No person, place, or thing has any control over me. That was one of my go-tos this morning to remind me that all of this squirrel on cocaine on a, a wheel that was going on up here, that was energy I needed to clear and reset. And reminding myself that I am the only thinker in my mind, and nobody, no person, place, or thing has any power over me. Will reset that mind thought process and regain your intention, because at that point you kind of go and you can set your intentions of how you want to pursue your day. Okay. And that supportive medicine of that, the reminder of you are the only thinker in your mind. And when we are intentional and conscious of what we're thinking, we take back our power, is, I love it, turkey spirit, give with gratitude and grace. So a lot of times we think punishment when we start saying, oh my God, I'm accountable for my thoughts. And I was thinking all this shit. No wonder this is a mess. No, 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 no. Okay. I want us to be grateful and graceful and give ourselves some love and compassion, because this idea of punishment around accountability and responsibility and consequences is bullshit. It's another fucking lie. If you can look at that as data, because the thing is, if you're lying to yourself about punishment of how you navigate things, that means you're punishing yourself every time you touch base within. And it's a lie, because the lie is telling you to touch base without, meaning outside. If we can move past this punishment of self around accountability, responsibility, and consequence for our choices, then touching base within is the immediate go-to because you're not worried about being upset with yourself or shooting all over yourself because of unconscious thought. Instead, if you can give yourself some gratitude and some grace, which is again upside down, I forgot that I knew this or I don't want to face this, which I think a lot of us unconsciously don't want to tap into the idea of if I'm accountable and responsible for my thoughts, I that's a powerful thing. That's awesomeness, not, oh shit, I fucked up. Okay? So give yourself grace and compassion about the fact that you might have been unconsciously navigating because that's the energy's invitation right now. But the spirit's invitation is and remember, collective energy isn't spirit. Collective energy is the majority vote with people's unconscious, conscious, and subconscious minds. Spirit energy is what you feel good when you're in alignment with your soul as an extension of source energy and that extension cord for you. So, meaning we come back into giving self grace around, oh, what did I contribute to the collective here? And how can I change and shift the collective? I take control of my thoughts. Ba-boom. Okay. And then lastly, of course, we have hawk spirit. Hawk spirit, right side up, because we all know the universe has our back, always knows what's going on. Let spirit be your guide. If we link into spirit like we're supposed to, go inside, connect into your soul, then connect back into source energy, God energy, whatever you want to call it, that will realign everything for you. That will remind you of how powerful you are. Because if you're having a shit stories party within yourself, the first question after you state your Louise Hay affirmation of, I'm the only thinker in my mind, no person, place, or thing has any power over me. The next statement should be, okay, I'm going to step back and look at this and say to myself, if I am an extension of source energy, that means I am a loving, compassionate being of light at my core. And would a loving, compassionate being of light be dealing with this? Or would they be saying, I'm going to stand in my power, be conscious about my thoughts because I know my power. If my power is thoughts become things and I twitch my nose and I think about something and something happens, or I decide to, I'm like, oh, my nails look awful, which they do. Oh my gosh, I so need to go to the mani pedi. But the fact is that I have that thought. The next step is take my ass to the pedi place or the mani place. Okay. Thoughts become things. And I know that's a silly kind of thing, but it's the truth, whether it's a mani or something bigger. You have to have the thought and then inspired action, and then something comes. And when we're intentional about our thought and intentional about the inspired action, the stuff that comes is aligned with all of this if we're aligned with our own higher spiritual soul purpose kind of thing, which is why use your mind wisely. Remember to, and it's upside down, so it's remember to use your mind wisely. As you're going through that process, it's so easy to beat yourself up over it. Don't do it. Upside down. Remember, give yourself grace. Give yourself gratitude for being that being of light that I can actually shift this energy. I can look at it and go, ooh, yeah, if I'm creating stuff that's not good, I don't want to beat myself up over it because that's kind of contrary to what you need to be doing. But in fact, you kind of say to yourself, okay, so if that's what I'm creating, what within me do I need to shift? Something's off. And I'm going to tell myself some radical truth and decide what it is that I need to do to shift my mindset around. Okay. And then knowing, and then right side up, the one thing that is right side up is let spirit be your guide. Because we all know this. You wouldn't be here if you weren't like, the universe has my back. I say all the platitudes, all the things. But this is reality right here. This is the one truth that I want you to buy into when you start your story, when you start your nonfiction about what you want to happen, what you need. Do you need more self-care this week? Do you need to get something done that's been on your to-do list and you've put it off because, again, we're focused on other people's shit instead of our own? We're out here instead of in here. Do I need to declutter my space so I declutter my inside? Okay. But knowing that spirit is your guide is the core. If I am an extension of spirit and so are you, what would spirit do? Wouldn't tell a shit story. Okay. That's for this week. So that's what I'm going to invite you to do. Maybe do some exercises, do some tapping, whatever modality of tapping you like, whether it's EFT, body talk, Eden method, all three, whether it's sound therapy, brain entrainment, just to kind of get yourself realigned with you so you can hear you instead of all this noise out here that's being created right now. And by Thursday, you'll start feeling it start to wane. By the 20th and the new moon, I think new moon is Lunar New Year. And when we kind of get there, things will feel so much better. But right now, it's so important to tell yourself your truth because when you get there, you want to start from you, not from other people's expectations, other people's well meaning opinions, any of that other crap. Because there's going to be a lot of naysaying this year. A lot of people that are going to be like, what the fuck are you doing? Because they don't want to focus on their own shit. Stay with whoever's in your corner and put yourself in your own corner by listening to you. Okay. That's what I'm going to invite you to do. So, and if you need to reconnect and you want to do it in a group, come on this Saturday. Just make sure you register because then you'll get the worksheets beforehand to help you kind of jumpstart your energy in that direction. And we'll do some coaching in there and we'll do some energy shifting. It'll be awesome. You're going to love it. And after that, I will announce some really cool new things that are beyond coaching that I'm really excited about, some groupie things. And yeah. So happy New Year so much again. We are in the second week of 2023. And I'm so looking forward to the energy and seeing what we do together and on an individual level. So I hope for you this week that you can take a pause on the assumptions and start writing your truth and start reconnecting with you. And until I see you next week, I love you so much. Thank you for joining me. Let me just really quick check in with what everybody is saying. It says, just take it slow. I keep telling myself, yes, Jenna, keep it slow. Yes, it's hard to not go down the self-doubt rabbit hole. Oh my gosh, right? And that's what this energy is like, really allowing you to do in a discomfort kind of zone. So that's why I'm saying it might be a little more challenging this week to stay out of that space, but you will love yourself so much more and thank yourself so much more come January 21st when everything starts shifting forward, that you wrote your own story so that you have like almost like a Bible to go by within yourself. And then, oh, Carol, I'm not going to write a shitty story. That's right, girlfriend. You don't write that shit story. Let's all commit to that. Let's all commit to writing our nonfiction, what we want, what will help us stand in our truth and go forward from that space. I love you so much. I hope this was helpful. Remember, I will see you next Monday at 11 a.m. Central right here, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook Live on Soul Coach Studio for the weekly energy report. I am Soul Coach Michele. Loving on you so much this week. And if you need me, I am at all those places. And join the workshop if you want to work together. It will be open for registration through Friday at 5:00 because you will need some time to do some work. And I can't, and it just is much more helpful if you do it that way. So go ahead, $20.23. That's all it is for energetic exchange. And if you love this video, you want to see more, make sure you subscribe, click the bell, do all the things. Love you so much. I will see you in a week. And that's it. Blessings. Mwah. Until next time, I will see you in the vortex. Bye, y'all.